Page 28, rational word problems. Let's do some of these together. Number 1, suppose Ralph can paint an entire house in 12 hours, and Stephanie takes 8 hours to paint a similarly sized house. How long would it take the two painters together to paint another house that's the same size? So let's underline some key things. So we're talking about Ralph, and he could paint a house in 12 or paint the house in 12 hours, and then we have Stephanie that takes 8 hours. So we can write those down. And then Stephanie, one house per 8 hours. So if we add these rates together, we will have one house. So let's do 1/12 times the number of hours, we'll just say it's T, plus 1/8 times that same number of hours equals one house. So we have Ralph's rate of one house every 12 hours. We have Stephanie's rate of one house every 8 hours. We have T, which represents the total hours, and then 1 right here, which represents one house. From there, you want to solve for T. So we will have same fractions. To do that, we can multiply 12 by 2 to get 24. And then we can multiply the 1/8 by 3/3. So then we have 2t plus 3t all over 24 equals 1. Combine the like terms. We have 5t over 24 equals 1. Cross multiply. And then we have 5t equals 24, divide by 5 on each side. So t would equal 4.8 hours. So you would do these for work problems. Let's look at some more. On number 2, you will have a proportion. On number 3, you'll also have some proportions. On number 4, you'll have something similar to a work-related problem, except for instead of hours, now we have minutes. On 5, we have another proportion. Let's look at number 6. Sheila is 5'3" tall. At a certain time of day, she measures her shadow and finds it 7 feet long. She also measures the shadow of a tree, which is 30 feet long. How tall is the tree? Let's circle some key facts here. We have 5'3" tall for Sheila. We have her shadow. We have a tree shadow, which is 30 feet. And we want to know how tall the tree is. So let's go ahead and draw a picture of this. So let's draw the tree. And the tree is, we don't know how tall that is. So we'll just put X. Okay, we know that the shadow of the tree is going to be 30 feet. And then we have Sheila, as Sheila is 5'3". And that's the same thing as 5 feet and 3/12 feet. 3/12 is the same thing as 1/4, so we'll say that's 5.25 feet. And then her shadow was 7 feet. So from here we could set it up as a proportion. We have Sheila's height, 5.25, over the shadow height of her, which is 7, equals the height of the tree, which we don't know, we're going to call it x, over the height of the shadow, which is 30. From there, we could cross multiply. So 5.25 times 30 is 157.5. And then we have equals 7 times x. Divide 7 on each side. So you get the height of the tree is x equals 22.5 feet. Number 7 you could use as a work-related problem, like number 1 sort of. On number 8 we have another proportion. Let's look at number 9. To make pineapple orange sherbet punch, Kim mixed orange sherbet, pineapple juice, Hawaiian punch, and ginger ale in the ratio of 8 to 8 to 9 to 7 to make a special drink for her friend's birthday party. To make 3 gallons, how much of each ingredient in fluid ounces should Kim use? 1 gallon equals 128 fluid ounces. Let's go ahead and underline the important stuff here. The order is orange, pineapple, punch, and ginger ale. And we have our ratio. You want to make 3 gallons. The answer needs to be in fluid ounces though, not gallons. So we're going to convert these gallons to fluid ounces. So if 1 gallon equals 128 fluid ounces, 3 gallons would equal something fluid ounces. So this is a proportion we could cross multiply. So 3 times 128 is 384. If we divide that by 1, we still have 384. So we want 384 fluid ounces altogether. Now the ratio is 8, 8, 9, 7. And now that ratio is going to stay constant, so let's put a variable that's the same for each of those terms. And altogether, the total amount of fluid ounces needs to be 384. So let's go ahead and combine all these numbers together and solve for x. So we get 32x equals 384. Divide each side by 32. We get x equals 12. Now, that's not our final answer. This is our multiplier to get the final answers. And you want to know how much of each ingredient that Kim should use, not just the multiplier of it. So to get that, to get the orange sherbet, it'd be 8 times 12, pineapple 8 times 12, Hawaiian punch 9 times 12, and then ginger ale 7 times 12. So the orange would be 8 times 12, which would give you 96 fluid ounces. Pineapple, we have 8 times 12 again, so 96 fluid ounces. The punch is going to be 9 times 12, so 108 fluid ounces. And then the ginger ale, we have 7 times 12, which is 84 fluid ounces. So those are your answers. On number 10, you'll use a proportion. On number 11, you'll use the work problem from number 1. And now let's look at number 12. Guillermo drives between Boston to Pittsburgh, a distance of 572 miles. From Boston to Pittsburgh, he averages 60 miles per hour. He is able to go faster on the return trip, and the total trip takes only 18 hours. What was his average speed on the way back? All right, so let's go ahead and underline some important things. We have Boston to Pittsburgh. The total distance was 572 miles. Going to Pittsburgh, it was 60 miles per hour. And the total trip was 18 hours. We want to find the average speed on the way back. So let's go ahead and draw this out. So here's Boston, here's Pittsburgh. We go from Boston to Pittsburgh, he went 60 miles per hour. And the total distance was 572 miles. On the way back, they went an unknown amount of miles per hour, and it was still 572 miles. So let's see how long it took them to go to Pittsburgh. So if it was 572 miles and it was 60 miles per hour, let's figure out how many hours that was. So if we divide the miles by the miles per hour, we get 143 over 15 hours. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we have 143 over 15 plus 572 over something, we could call it x, and that's going to equal 18 hours altogether. So let's go ahead and solve for x. First, let's subtract 143/15 from each side. So then we have, I'll write over here in red, 572 over x equals, if we subtract those, we get 127 over 15. Okay, so from there we could cross multiply. So 572 times 15 is 8,580, and then that's going to equal 127 times x. Divide each side by 127. And so x equals 8,580 over 127. If you put that in a calculator as a decimal, it's approximately 68. So it'd be 68 miles per hour. Okay, complete the rest of these problems on this page on your own. and then move on to the next section.